even in those early days of you just dropping videos on YouTube, Prince and Bootsy reach out.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. It's crazy. And a lot of people don't know this, but I started playing bass like a couple years before that.
Wow.
So I closed myself off. I studied Bootsy, I studied Paul Jackson, I studied Larry Graham, I studied like James Jamerson, I studied Louis Johnson, Bernard Edwards, so many more. And I was like, okay, now I need to like master all of them in order to really find my sound.
I mean, you clearly put in the time, because in order
Yes.
to go from 0 to 1 in a few years, you must have been super dedicated, sitting in your room, really
So
focusing
dedicated.
and really intentional with your practice.
Go. Let's go.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. Sitting with me today, we have an incredible artist, a star, one of my favorite bass players, the future queen of funk and disco. Watch her as she rises, this year's Grammy Producer of the Year nominee. Make a ton of noise for Alissia!
Come on.
I do need the air horn sample.
Crowd vibes.
I should have an air horn sample. Did you bring samples? Come on, you're the DJ.
I know, I do have samples. I have one of Bootsy saying, "Yes, Bobble." Yes, Bobble.
That's a fun
Or
one.
Bootsy here, baby, funkin' out with Alissia. I should have come prepared. See, I should have had my samples going at the beginning.
Okay, so I mean, we might as well just jump straight into Bootsy. I mean, you brought up Bootsy straight from the top, which I would too if I were you. So hey, of course we're going to talk about.
He's
First
just
of all,
the best for the samples.
congratulations on the Producer of the Year nominee.
Thank you. It's crazy. I'm so honored, so excited.
It's amazing.
insane.
When I saw your name that morning at 7 a.m. as I was drinking coffee, I was like, let's go. I'm sure that was a thrill, huh?
Oh my God. I was also having coffee. I was also watching it live just because I worked on a bunch of different projects this year. And I was like, just might as well watch the little live ceremony and just being hopeful. And then like that category was the second one and my name popped up first. I was just like, I low-key spilled my coffee. I was just like jumped up my seat, up my chair, and I was like, what is happening? And I had to triple check. Like I was like, is this really my name? And it had to really sink in, just everything just started becoming blurry. I was like, wait, what? And then, and then everybody started like FaceTiming me, my management, everybody. I was like, whoa, are we sure about this? This is really happening, right?
Just hitting rewind, like it said my name, right? Is this, am I awake? Yeah.
Oh my God. And it's so quick. It just, boom, the name and then boom, next category. So it's like, no, but it's insane. I'm so, so happy. So thankful, so grateful.
Yeah, I'm so happy for you. I know you had the
you.
Grammy nomination. Was that last year with Mary J. Blige or the year before?
Year before, yeah. Album of the Year and Best R&B Album, which was also crazy. When I found out we were nominated for Album of the Year, I was like, what? I mean, the Queen Mary J, I was so happy for her. And, she's someone that works so hard too. Like, yeah, I was so happy. We had a blast that year too.
That's so cool. Well, I remember first seeing you play bass on Instagram, what seems like 10 years ago or something. And immediately being like, wow, this girl's incredible. You had an amazing tone. You had an amazing sound. You were full of the funk and just captivating. And I think we messaged at that time or something from the Jam Card account, like way back. And then I don't think we met in person until like years later. But it was, immediately as soon as I saw you play, I was like, wow, this girl's really special. She has an incredible talent.
Thank you.
And I feel like a lot of people had that same reaction because you dropped this video with Berklee. Is that what happened? You had this Berklee College of Music video that was you fronting a big band and it just kind of went off?
Went crazy, yeah. And actually before that, I was just doing like bass covers on YouTube, and that's how I started getting a few calls. Like Prince saw one of the videos and he reached out, and then Bootsy saw one of the videos and everything. And then when I just last minute put together a band, for the Berklee, I think was like launching their YouTube. and they were like, yeah, do you have like, I was at the time, I was already like kind of like MDing, playing bass, different
Were you
shows
even going to Berklee?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was there, yeah. And yeah, I was actually MDing a bunch of shows there, doing a bunch of stuff, doing shows outside of Berklee, like playing with artists. I was doing it all.
So you were going to Berklee and studying, and you were making these YouTube videos. And even in those early days of you just dropping videos on YouTube, Prince and Bootsy reach out?
Yeah.
How old were you?
Maybe like 20.
That's amazing.
Yeah. It's crazy. And a lot of people don't know this, but I started playing bass like a couple years before that.
Wow.
Like I started playing bass like late. I started on piano first, and then started Berklee, and then I was like, I don't know. And then, I started like just digging into like 70s funk stuff more and more, because that's really where I connected. And I was like, I want to be able to play those bass lines. I always kept thinking like, man, these bass lines are just what is the core of this groove, like that I really love. And then that's what got me into like bass. So, all the like James Brown, like Bootsy, Parliament, Larry Graham, Brothers Johnson, of course, Prince stuff, like all, and so many more. But yeah, that's really what got me into like wanting to start playing bass, and also what got me into synths. That's when I got like my Moog Voyager and like into that kind of stuff. I was like really drawn to like the production of those records and everything. But so I closed myself off for a long time and just shedded bass, because I was like, okay, if I'm gonna do this, I can't just like fake do it. I really have to do it. And I started like studying all the greats. Started with, of course, Bootsy was like one of the first ones, which was, that's why it was so crazy that he reached out. But I studied Bootsy, I studied Paul Jackson, I studied Larry Graham, I studied like James Jamerson, I studied Louis Johnson, Bernard Edwards, so many more. And I was like, okay, now I need to like master all of them in order to really find my sound.
Wow.
And I mean, master is a big word, but like, just as much as I can, like really learn, like, okay, where are they playing this? Like on the neck, what's their like different little things they, that really makes them special, and like the tone, and like how they have their bass set up, like what pickup, whatever, like everything, where are they playing it, like how they're playing it. And I was just like in my room. I wasn't really out and about like partying with anyone. I didn't really have a lot of friends at the beginning. I was just like, okay, I need to like study this.
You were really paying attention.
Yeah.
You paid attention because you were like, I want to do it right. Where exactly are they playing on the neck? How are they doing it? And I think that's what comes across in watching you play, is like you're doing it right. Right? It's not just how do I play these songs, or what are the notes or whatever, but it's like, tonally. And I'm sure that's what leads Prince and Bootsy to reach out to you, because it's not apparent that you had just started a few years before, which is so crazy to think about. That, I mean, you clearly put in the time, because in order to go from 0 to 1 in a few years, you must have been super dedicated, sitting in your room, really focusing and really intentional with your practice.
Yeah. And again, I studied all the like Prince live shows, and would spend hours and hours on YouTube, just like, going the nerd route, and just like all the shows, all the live shows, all the arrangements, everything. Like I love doing that. I still do that. I'm not gonna lie, I still do that.
So you found the mothership, and now you have the spaceship.
And then created the spaceship. Come on, you understand. Exactly. It's a little wink to the mothership.
I get it. I see where we're going with this. Okay, so in what you just said, I have like 10 different things that I want to double click on. So let's start with, okay, so you're at Berklee, you're young, you discovered bass a few years prior, you start making these new arrangements, posting YouTube videos. Prince and Bootsy reach out. Okay, how does Prince reach out?
He sent me a Twitter. So that's how I got connected to Prince, because he
DM'd you on Twitter?
Yeah. Which was crazy, because I didn't really think it was really him. I was like, there's no way Prince is like doing his own tweets. Like, there's no way. There must be a whole team. And then I had to like fact check, and like with a few people, like I knew a few musicians like that he played with and everything. And he was like, they were like all like, no, that's him. And then a few days later, someone from his management reached out and everything. And same with Bootsy. I think he like reached out at the time. It was like on Facebook or something. And that's how I meet a lot of people. It's so weird, this virtual world.
Yeah,
that's how we met.
Yeah.
That's how I met a lot of people like Lenny Kravitz, Calvin Harris. A lot of people I end up working with. I met them through like social media, which is insane. Yeah. It's a great tool.
People use the tool, people.
Use the tool.
I'm pretty sure people have caught
with
on.
a healthy relationship with social media, it can bring you and open doors and bring you things.
Put more output than you take in input. That's the healthy, right? Okay, so Prince DMs you. His management reaches out. You're like, okay, this is legit. Do you go and meet up with him? Do you work with it? Like, what ends up happening?
Yeah. So...
Did you go to Paisley Park?
Yeah, so it's a crazy story. So I had a show planned like a couple of days later that his someone from his management reached out, and they were like, yeah, he wants you to fly out tomorrow. And I was like, oh my God, I have the show. Like I have put together like MD and everything. And I was like, I can't really get out of that. So I was like, well, I can't really tomorrow, but how about next week? And just dead silence. And I was like, oh my God, no. And at the time I was in touch with Larry Graham. So I was like, Larry, I'm not hearing back from them. Crazy. He was like, well, try send a letter to Paisley Park. And I was like, I sent a letter. I was like, I'm sorry I couldn't make it right away. It's crazy. It's so embarrassing. Oh my God. I was like, did I lose my opportunity? And then they reached out again. I guess he saw another video and then he reached out again. And then they flew me out to Paisley Park. Well, actually to Minneapolis. And then once I got there, I was kind of like just waiting at the airport for like an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours. And yeah, unfortunately, I just never, I never heard back. They kind of had me waiting, and he ended up passing away like a month later. He was already sick and everything. Yeah. So I never got to really like properly like jam with him, unfortunately. But we DM'd a little bit, and he was always so supportive, and he was, that's just, I'll always cherish that forever. Like having the Prince, like, how do you say, like,
endorsement.
Yeah. Crazy.
That validation is huge.
The validation. Yeah. I was like, wow, I must be doing something right.
Yeah.
So yeah, that opened a lot of doors for me, those times, because, and at the same time I was very like dedicated to studying. So I studied bass, but a lot of people don't know that, but I was also like, I was studying like, I wanted to like know how to score for a big band. I was trying to like figure out how to like score for like strings, orchestra, like I was studying so many different things, like production. I started like, I actually was like really in the studio trying to learn from engineers and like doing those types of classes. And again, that's when I got into like synths and stuff. So like bass was kind of like what was out there on like social media and videos and stuff. But I was really like studying it all.
Yeah.
Like the ins and outs. I was just like a sponge, I still am, but I was like, yeah. So,
that's crazy validation that you got it at so early in your journey, like Bootsy and Prince, like the lords of the funk and the soul, and like, and every instrument, if you include Prince in that, right? But it's like, man, that's so wild. I've heard similar stories of people being flown out to Minneapolis and being like, I'm here, and then waiting hours and hours.
Yeah, I know. It's like so close, but
it's still amazing. It's still amazing to have that.
Yeah. But I did get to like party with him one time. I was at Montreal Jazz Festival. Nice. And he was doing a very intimate like after party, and I went there. And
was it the jam or separate?
It was at the I can't remember the name of the venue, but it wasn't a jam. It was just like, no, it was, unfortunately, I would have sat in maybe. No, it was just really just this very intimate small hang. And at the time, again, I was like, close with Larry Graham, and I was sitting at a table with him and his wife, and then Prince came for a little bit, and then, just really cool, and just like in his little suit, like velvet purple. And yeah, it was crazy. But
wow. That's so cool.
Yeah.
I got to jam with him once.
Wow, crazy. How was that?
It was incredible. Yeah,
incredible,
it was like riding a crazy roller coaster. And then he vanished and I didn't even get to say hello.
Yeah, like Prince is one of those guys who like just appears all of a sudden that you in times you never expect it, and then disappears. Like
another time I was we were at the Viper Room, like watching this new group, and apparently he had like a circle booth or whatever there next to the stage, or that like U booth, and his security guard came and was like, Prince would like to invite you to his table. And I was like, wow. Oh, can I bring my friends? And he was like, no.
No, you can't. And, same with me.
And it was him and the twins. And I sat at the table and I was like, hey, so good to see you. Like, it was great to jam the other week. Thanks for having me. And he didn't say a word to me.
Oh, wow.
But
that probably was a compliment or something.
Yeah.
He only talks a little bit. Yeah.
I was so confused at first because he like didn't talk to me, and I was like, hello. I was like, are you looking to sign this artist? Are you producing this artist? Like, what's going on? And he just was watching the artist. And then I was like, okay. And then I like went to get up. I was like, maybe he didn't mean to invite me here. So I like,
oh my God.
I got up and the security guard stopped me, and Prince was like, keep him here. And I was like, okay. And then I realized later in talking to his friends or people that really knew him that was his way once again of like endorsing me and being like, you're cool, sit here, but I'm not gonna talk to you. But come sit next to me. I was like, I'll take it. I'll take the validation.
Always shoot your shot. You never know.
Always shoot your shot. Oh man.
That's one thing.
Oh, yes. That's so cool. All right. So Bootsy also reaches out on social media, and you end up exec producing his album.
Which is crazy. I mean, that was kind of like the first like project that I, outside of like for fun and with friends and stuff, like industry kind of like project, because he had a lot of people on his album. He was working with like, Big Daddy Kane, Dougie Fresh, Music Soul Child, Kali Uchis, Snoop, a bunch of people. He was just like working on this like album, and he was like, well, Bobble, this you can play bass, Bobble, but what do you really want to do? And I was like, like I love, bass will always be in my heart, and I love playing bass, but I just really just want to like make songs. I want to like produce. That's what I really want to do. And and that's after like playing a lot of bass for a long time and everything. But again, like I really felt that need of like creating, and I loved spending time in the studio. And yeah, so he was like, well, how do you feel about doing this album with me? And I was like, oh my God, of course. And so it's actually crazy because like we didn't meet back then. At first, we were just like talking through email and everything, and craziest thing, the first time I met him, I feel like he did it on purpose, because I was like, maybe it was like a setup. I don't know if it was or not, but the way we met was kind of crazy, because like he was like, well, I'm in New York, and I'm doing a late night show. Do you want to come, and so we can meet in person, because we were in touch for his album and for everything. And I was like, yeah, sure. So, I'm just like low key. I'm like, cool, I'm going to watch, his late night performance with George Clinton and everything. And when I got there, all the cameras were like ready to go and everything. And they're like, all right, we're about to like, go live in like 10 minutes. And I look and I see Bernie Worrell on the synth. I see Bootsy on drums and George on the mic. And I was like, and the bass section was empty. And Bootsy looked at me. He was like, go to your spot, Bobble. And I was like, what? I didn't even know. Thank God I knew all these P-Funk songs and everything, And he was like, all right, flashlight.
Flashlight.
We're going
Let's
live.
go.
I'm like, okay.
Straight into flashlight.
crazy. And shout out to Louis CATO, because I didn't bring my bass, and thankfully he had one there, and so I ended up taking his bass, and he was like, all right, you ready? And we didn't even meet. We just started playing. That's how we met. We met playing on a late night show with Bernie Worrell and George Clinton, which is crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was my first time meeting him, and I didn't know anything of what I was about to experience. So yeah, that was the first time we met. And then the rest is history. Like we kind of just started working on the album. I started going to Cincinnati a bunch. And I really, really cherish those moments with him because, you know, like having someone like a legend like that, just like mentoring you throughout the whole process and, you know, pushing you to just like creatively explore different like things. And like he was really challenging me, like, and I needed that, you know, like I really did. Yeah, it was, and he always like cracked jokes and it's always good vibes. He's so humble. He's just so cool. He's so cool. Like, you know, like super tall with always like these chains and these boots and like the hat, the glasses, you know, he's like that even at home. Like there's no,
so great.
Yeah. And I love that. So yeah, so that also like kind of opened a lot of doors for me. Just like as a producer working in the industry, navigating everything, because that's kind of also how my name kind of got out there. But yeah, shout out to Bootsy. I love him so much.
Wow.
And he stayed a mentor of mine, you know, throughout my whole career. And even now, I was on the phone with him a couple weeks ago. You know, he was congratulating me on the nom and everything. So yeah.
Bobble. What is bobble?
Bobble.
Bobble?
Actually, you know, funny thing. Yeah, that's how, yes, Bobble. Like, you know, that's his thing. That's his signature thing. But he actually calls me Baby Z, which stands for Babyzilla. Because, you know, Bootzilla.
Babyzilla.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
That's my nickname, Babyzilla. It's every time, what's on Baby Z? Like everything. No, he's so funny. I love him so much.
Oh, that is so great. What a blessing to have him in your life. That's so cool. Okay,
really
so wait,
is.
so on that album, so Bass Rigged System, that song, right?
Yeah.
You as a bass player, is that all of you on bass, like Victor Wooten, Bootsy, Manu, and Stanley Clarke, and you?
Yeah, and a lot of people don't know this, but like I've also produced everything, and I wrote and played every instrument on everything. Of course, bass as well.
You wrote and played every instrument on everything?
Pretty much. I
Wow.
mean, there was some songs, there was some songs, you know, that and I love that about Bootsy. He was like, yeah, I want to use like, who's like, you know, kind of like younger or up and coming, like, let's use them. Like, he was really trusting me, you know, even when later on he put his like live show together, he was like, okay, who should we use for this, for that? And I was kind of like, you know, just sending people over and like, oh, check this person, check that person. Like, he was really trusting me on that. And then sometimes, you know, he had people, he was like, yeah, let's, you know, try to have so-and-so like on guitar and do a solo on this song, or like, let's try to have so-and-so. But a lot of people I brought in. But that song, that was a bass bash. No, that was fun.
And Buckethead is on that album?
Yeah. So Buckethead, he brought him in. Yeah. No, it was so much fun. And I got to really nerd out, you know, with Bootsy, and just being in his studio, like, you know, like looking at all his gear and just like putting my hands on, like, I don't know, Bernie's synths and like, you know, the like just so much history, you know. So
that's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, our next guest on the podcast, we haven't announced. We don't announce. We just like do it and then drop it that day. But our next guest is George Clinton.
Oh, no way.
Do you have anything you want me to ask or say to George?
Oh my God. To George, just, you know, keep shining your light in this world. And thank you for all this legacy that you left us. And that you will leave us forever. Now, yeah. I mean, what an icon.
It's going to be awesome.
That's going to be so cool.
Were you at the Jam Jam we did with him?
No.
We did the Jam Jam with him in 2019, pre-COVID. Bootsy came, which was really cool that Bootsy came. Anderson was there. It was a fun time.
Yeah.
You got to come to the next one. Come on.
Yes,
You were at our last Grammy one. You DJ'd, which was amazing.
Yes, that was so much fun.
That was great.
That was so much fun. Yeah.
Speaking of Anderson, so I know Anderson Paak is a big part of your life right now. What's your friendship like with Anderson?
I mean, man, ever since me and Anderson met, like, you know, he's been bringing me on to a lot of really cool projects. So, you know, shout out to him for sure. He's such, first of all, an incredible, you know, musician, rapper. Like, he does it all. Like, artist, creative, and just like, you know, there's really no limits with him, which is something I love. And, you know, he works so hard too, but he's still, you know, always remains super cool. It's always good vibes. It's always like, you know, we always crack jokes, but it's always still serious, and we work hard late nights, very late nights, very, very late nights sometimes. You know, that was sometimes a challenge. You know, I wasn't used to working until 8, 9 a.m. Yeah. So, but yeah, man, like it was, you know, he brought me to a lot of projects, you know, including stuff that's nominated this year, including the Kaytranada, including the Mary J. Blige, like a bunch of NxWorries and Rae Khalil, other stuff too. Like he really, he brought me on a lot of stuff, and I just love, you know, creating with him because it's really always, you know, fun, and we always aim to create something, you know, timeless. We always aim to, you know, do the best we can do, and yeah. And until it's not like really special, we just keep trying. And he's also very open to like, you know, just like suggestions and things. He's so cool. Effortlessly cool. And so
effortlessly
talented.
Cool.
Yeah.
When he's hitting you up to like do one of these sessions, because you're doing a bunch of sessions with him, is it formal, scheduled, or is it kind of just like, yo, come through the studio and you don't even know what you're going to walk into?
Well, you know, some of them are formal, you know, and we would plan, but a lot of times he would just be like, let's go have dinner. Cool. Next thing you know, you're in the studio with like Snoop, you know, like after dinner, like, you know, it's always, sometimes it's like, you know, it's very chill and last minute. Sometimes it's more planned out. It really depends, but he's opened a lot of doors for me as a producer, and also like, you know, he's always really respected me and my craft, and you know, it wasn't always like easy just, you know, stepping into a room and getting the respect right away, especially from like when I started and stuff as a producer and stuff. So, you know, he really like made like room for me, and you know, in those kind of like sessions and spaces, and really, I respect him a lot for that. Like, you know, he really gave me a lot of opportunities, and
on these 8 a.m. sessions, or going till 8 a.m., is it because they start late, or are they just long?
No, they start late.
Are you a night owl or a morning person, or what are you?
You know, I'm not gonna lie. I love waking up in the morning, but the creative flow, just the spark is just more present at nighttime for some reason. I don't know why. Usually during the day, like I would like edit stuff. You know, I would edit or like just work on like post-production stuff, whatever, something a little bit more like meticulous or whatever.
Yeah.
But usually nighttime is when I like, you know, create. But
no distractions.
No distractions. And you know, it's like, you know, everybody's off, like you don't get any emails, any calls from people. You just get to really zone out and be yourself and be, you know, and that's what I really love that. But I mean, you know, I still have like, I feel like something that's really important to me is my routine too. Like I work on a lot of different projects, and I love that. I love the diversity, and I feel like I don't really feel like I get burnouts because I work on so many different projects. Because like whenever I'm stuck with a song or something, like I'm like, okay, let me open this other session, let me work on this, on that, which is, you know, I'm super grateful I have, you know, the opportunity of working with so many incredible people. So, you know, and I always want to deliver my best. And
absolutely.
Yeah, I feel like something that really helped me is to have a proper like routine. So like I would wake up, I would have, of course, first things first, I put my music on, I set my vibe, my morning vibe. I do coffee.
Music? What's the morning music?
Yeah, the morning music, some Donald Byrd or Minnie Riperton, or like, so many things. Like I feel like I have like, all these playlists that I always like, okay, what's today's vibe like? And I just, listen to that, and then have my little coffee, and then all the, of course, all the emails, the calls, the things happen. But I usually try and do my workout and everything. And then, I try to like really stay on my routine, which is not the case in LA. Like whenever I'm there, which I kind of like, I'm there part-time. So a lot of times I don't get to like, do that, because a lot of sessions are just like left and right and up and down and late nights and everything. But I try to somewhat like have a little schedule. So
when you do a late night, do you allow yourself to sleep in and do that whole thing, or do you try to stay on that regimen with like
sleep? Sleep is the most important for me. Like I cannot function if I sleep like 3 hours. Like I need to at least, have a good night's sleep so I can really be the best I can be. Otherwise, I'm just not useful in any way creatively, I feel like.
Absolutely.
So no, I definitely do try to sleep in. Sometimes I have to do stuff in the morning, but if it's a late night, you won't hear from Alissia until like later. I need to recharge.
Let her recharge.
Yes.
When you're walking into a session, because it's obviously different when it's more formal, like, oh, I'm going to produce this session that I'm walking into today. But it's when it starts with the hang and it goes into a session where all of a sudden now it's you and Anderson and like another artist, let's say, or something.
Yeah.
How do you then, like, how do you start providing value in the session, and when do you start versus like, is Anderson just like, hey, Alissia, do something, like do this, or what's your vibe on this, like including you in, or do you like usually sit back until you're invited in, or do you just kind of just start creating when you get in? Like, how do you kind of break that ice? I feel like a lot of people can relate to that kind of situation of like, when am I supposed to?
And that's such an important point. I feel like emotional intelligence is something that is very underrated, and it's very important. Like, it's not only important as a producer to just, have knowledge and just talented and, hard work and everything, but something that I feel like will, really benefit like a producer's, like, I don't know, I guess career, whatever. It's like just emotional intelligence, knowing, how to like really listen, knowing how to take a step back and just kind of let the artist be, like just knowing when to jump in, knowing what to like, that I feel like, and really just be like respectful of whatever space, whatever artist you work with, like, but I feel like with Anderson, like a lot of times, like, and he would just let me do my thing, which is really cool. It really depends. Like it depends like what sessions and stuff. But like sometimes, I would like play him ideas. Sometimes we would start from scratch. Just sometimes and a lot of people maybe don't know this, but like I play like on my productions. I play a lot of different instruments. I record vocals. I edit. I do the post production. Like it's a lot of it is a woman, but I love that because I love like learning about things. Like I learned how like to tune vocals and stuff. Like I learned how to like engineer vocals. I learned how to do this. I like and play, and like it makes me want to like know what I'm talking about, so that the time I'm like working with an engineer or someone, like I know I can just jump in certain sessions, like if it's not on my computer, whatever, I can just jump in and I know what I'm doing. And I just whenever there's something I don't know, like I always like spend time to like figure it out.
I love that.
I guess
like, I'm never gonna not know this again.
I want to like, there's so much to learn, which is the beauty of what we do, right? The beauty of music is like it's so endless. Like the learning is so endless.
Yes.
So yeah, I love that.
For anyone listening that's not a natural EQ person, maybe they're more of an IQ person. This book changed my life. Hold on, I got it right here. This book.
Oh.
Have you read this book by
I
chance?
love that.
You might
not yet.
It's such a good book.
See?
It's so great. It's
Mm-hmm.
called HBR's 10 Must Reads on emotional intelligence. If you read nothing else on emotional intelligence, read these definitive articles from Harvard Business Review. So this is
wow.
I read this and it helped me a lot. Not that I'm not an empathetic person or have EQ, like, but I guess I needed more. Everyone can use more, right? Like, so it helped me a lot with balancing, especially in like creative atmospheres, leadership atmospheres. I think when it's time for you and to like take lead, right? When you're in a session, you're the producer, Alissia. Okay, you got to take lead. Those leading moments is when I think EQ is like most valuable.
Very important. Yeah. And I feel like, you know, I'm so blessed. I've been in rooms with like really legends, you know, and incredible talented people and stuff, and I always, you know, made sure to like, you know, always be like a sponge and always learn from them, and never like try to, you know, overstep in any way. Like I always like tried to like really, you know, and that's, those experiences also taught me a lot, like, you know, just with different people. I learned really so many things from different people I've worked with. So yeah. And I apply that all the time.
So speaking of different people, another Grammy nom this year is for Kaytranada.
Yes.
Incredible album. I love that album.
Amazing.
What was that session like with Kaytranada?
Actually, we weren't in the same room. So Anderson brought a loop, just like a maybe it was like a bar loop or something that Kaytranada sent him, and he played it for me. He was like, yeah, what are you hearing on this? Like, where do you think it should go musically, whatever. I think he wanted to add just more sections and more instruments and everything. And we just kind of like jammed. We did this such a long time ago too. It was like maybe like 5-6 years ago. So a lot of people sometimes they're like, oh my God, like 6 years later, you know, like let's drop this. I'm like, hell yeah. This was a fun one. So, you know, and again, like, you know, I would come up with different like lines and just chords and stuff, and he ended up really vibing to it. I wasn't sure because, you know, Kaytranada is like already a producer, so I didn't want to step on any toes.
Yeah.
But yeah, he ended up loving it. I called like a percussion player, played different things, whatever, and yeah, now, I mean, Kaytranada deserves his flowers. He's so incredible. Like, he's so talented.
He's amazing.
So,
because you're on so many different projects, what is a project that you would want people to check out to hear like your production, like really your vibe that you like and you're proud of?
I feel like it's like choosing a baby. They're all like, they were all really fun. You know, I mean, I feel like, you know, BJ, the Chicago kid, is someone that is so incredibly talented, and you know, he definitely deserves a listen. And you know, like, I mean, his whole album is amazing. It was so much fun working, you know, with them on that one. And then, you know, I found out later, oh, Coco Jones hopped on it. Oh, Chloe hopped on this song. So, you know,
Spend the Night is so good.
Yeah, it's a fun record, and I love that they called me to do like something, like they were trying to do like, you know, to like work on an up-tempo feel good like singles and stuff, and YETI was like overseeing it and everything, and his team reached out and they were like, yeah, like, would you be down, whatever. And we honestly made those songs in just a couple of days, and then, you know, they worked on like the songwriting and everything later, but like the tracks, the ideas, and it was super, super quick, and it was just fun, you know. I feel like that's one thing sometimes is like nerdy musicians, producers, we forget to have fun. And I always like, you know, with it, when it becomes like, when your passion becomes your job, sometimes you're like, you know, but I always try to make it fun, like, you know, especially for a beat song, feel good, like, yeah.
How's it working with YETI Beats?
Amazing. He's so cool. And ROGÉT was also there. Dope. Which, you know, love them both. They're incredible producers too. So that was a cool way to collab, which is fun because a lot of times, like, I do everything myself, and but I love collaborating. I love collaborating too. So yeah, that was fun. That was a fun one. And Rae Khalil also, I love her. Like, her project is so special.
She's awesome.
And yeah, that song, Is It Worth It? I mean, I don't want to play favorites, and that's why I'm like, I want to name them all, but like, you know.
Is that track Anderson on drums and you on bass?
So, I mean, yeah, I played, arranged strings, produced, did everything. He played drums. And
that's so cool.
Yeah. I recorded also live strings. I arranged the strings.
Sick.
Pretty much, did everything on that
Going
one.
in that Quincy direction.
Yeah, well, that's, that's crazy, because actually he's the reason why, like, Quincy is the reason why I wanted to start, being able to write and arrange strings and implement that in my production. And he's, and even in general, like, he's the one who made me want to like study how to write for big band and like all this stuff. Like, he's, when I was like figuring out like my production stuff, whatever, just like shedding whatever plugins, programming, all that stuff, I would like hear some of my favorite records, MJ stuff, Brothers Johnson, whatever. Quincy was all over those, and I was like, oh my God, like, rest in peace. It's crazy. He passed away the same week I was nominated, and he's my biggest inspiration as a producer. Like, and I'm sure a lot of other people too. But it was such an emotional week. Yeah. Like, I saw your post. I actually sat down with him. I mean, they reached out like before that, but I actually got to sit down and meet him at the event that you did with him in New York.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's so cool.
So, yeah, our schedules weren't lining up for the longest, and we were supposed to meet, and then we really sat down, and that's where we really like, I mean, he's just the coolest and the most humble, and talented and hardworking, and and the fact that he was working so well with musicians in the studio, to me, that is like next level. Like, and especially nowadays, that's something that's really important to me too, is like, the live musicianship, to keep that alive. And because you do a lot of stuff with musicians.
Oh yeah.
But it's like nowadays there's so many, like Prince would say, we'll end up sampling the sample of the sample of the sample. Like, it's really our job, as producers and as writers, musicians, to really keep using musicians and instruments in the studio, not only live, but in the studio,
Yeah.
Like, it's something that's, that's sometimes I'm like, man, like, it's, and like, of course, at the time, they had to do that. They didn't have the technology to do it. Otherwise,
they were pushing all the technology barriers at the time as far as possible.
Yes. But also back to Quincy, I feel like his ability to like work with musicians and make the best records and best arrangements and production is just in making it worldwide.
Yeah.
I mean, they kind of redefined the meaning of pop, it feels like.
100%.
With these arrangements and everything. But
100%. What's crazy is like when Quincy was in his 20s and he was doing Count Basie, right? Or he was doing Sinatra. That was the pop of that time, right? That was his mainstream as it got. Those were the biggest artists in the world at the time. So it's like, it's like the world shifted, the sound of the world shifted, and he was there every decade, like every decade doing the biggest of the biggest and pushing it and breaking the barriers and
his career
and leading people, and also choosing the next generation and all the next people, and really mentoring so many people from nothing. Like even with Jacob, right? Like Jacob Collier, you found Jacob in the YouTube days when Jacob hadn't even played a show.
Yeah.
And even with all these people, he reached out and supported so many people before they had any sort of notoriety, right? Like he could hear something and be like,
that's love.
This is it.
That's love.
Yeah.
That's passion for music. That's his love, his pure love for music. And you know, I feel like what also inspired me from Quincy is his versatility.
Yeah.
And that's why I, even from my work, like even just this year, it's just, I love that it was so versatile, you know, and sometimes like people like, you know, like when they found out about the nomination, they're like, oh, so what's your story? A lot of people don't know I've been doing this for years. I've been working with so many different people. I've been doing this for a long time, you know, and again, I am I guess the way I'm trying to work on like different projects, the versatility part. Of course, like sometimes like, you know, they would reach out because they know me for a specific sound, and they know my love is like in the funk, soul, R&B, 70s era. But you know, I feel like, yeah, a lot of people don't know, like I've been working with a lot of different people for a long time for different, you know.
Absolutely.
And yeah, his versatility is very inspiring. So that's what also made me want to explore new territories. And yeah.
Well, I'm excited now. I feel like whenever I was just thinking like, oh, I'm going to listen to this track. Oh, Alicia's on this track. I was just being like, oh, that's her on bass, right? So I want to re-listen to a lot of these tracks being like, nah, that's her on all the arrangements. That's her on all these instruments.
And that, a lot of people don't know that, you know, because a lot of people know me for the bass stuff. But I mean...
You got to train people. It takes time.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It's like, oh, you really programmed these drums? I'm like, yeah. Oh, you arranged those strings? I'm like, yeah. Oh, you really played those synths and you sound designed? I'm like, yes. Did you tune those vocals too? I'm like, yeah. You engineered? Yes. So a lot of times, you know, but you know, it's just, I you know, just take it like it takes a second, but you know, I'm trying to like...
As someone who was a drummer, it took a long time to be more than just a drummer.
Dude,
and for people
like,
to acknowledge, even it took like 7 years for people to acknowledge me on the business side. Year. Because it was like, you know, they saw me play drums forever and they saw you play bass, you know, for so long. And so it, you know, and also I think when you're gifted at something, like as you are with bass, people just kind of stick to that, right? And so they're not, they're just like, oh, that's cool. But the bass, it's
which
already
I'm
been...
very honored. I'm very honored. I love my bass, you know, my bass peoples, my nerds who always like, you know, like comment and engage with like my bass stuff. And that really just keeps me going. But, you know, especially, you know, recently, I've just spent so much more time like in the studio and like on other things and shedding keys and plugs and different things. And, but you know what was like the most special to me, like with this nomination, is just like, you know, one, like I would say like all these like young girls and women just like being like, first of all, like this is so inspiring to all of us. And it's like, you know, you're representing all of us right now. And just like now I was like, okay, now this is like way bigger than just me. I mean, I'm so honored it happened to me, but I'm like, you know, that was the most inspiring thing. And then second, they were like, and also you make us want to start playing bass, like, you know, and keys and stuff. And I'm like, oh my God, like, and that's the most rewarding thing to me, is like to inspire others, you know, and like really it's something that I really cherish, and it's fueling, it's inspiring, it makes me want to do more and work harder.
Absolutely. You being here is inspiring, and it's like it's so needed. Like the fact that there's only been 9 women nominated for Producer of the Year, right? And the fact that, I mean, we need more women in recording studios, period, right? Like we need more women producers, we need more women engineers, you know, like so young women seeing you do it, it just shows like, oh yeah, I can do that. I can do it. I can be on all these cool records. I can get Grammy noms. I can do this. Like, and so yeah, you're doing amazing work. And I just think the bigger that you get, the better the world will be. So so let's go, Alissia. Let me know how I can help. What can I do?
Oh no! Already having me on your podcast is really cool.
I got it. Okay, I'm gonna say something else too. Okay, so I want to say 6 months ago or something, I was in New York, and I went and hung out with our boy Ross Michaels. Shout out to Ross. And I went to the studio, and he played me Alissia tracks. in that studio, bumping those tracks. And
like
it
stuff
was
I've done or unreleased?
unreleased.
Oh, snap.
And it was some of the sickest shit I have ever heard in my life. Because he was like, I want you to hear this. You're gonna fuck with this. I want you to hear this. I was like, oh yeah, Alissia is awesome. Okay, great. And then he played for me and I was like, oh, when is this out?
Oh,
and it still isn't out.
No.
When are you gonna share? Because let me tell you something, Alissia. When this comes out,
crazy, right? Crazy.
Yo, you're going to a whole other planet. The spaceship and the mothership are gonna become this whole mother world.
Blow up
space.
into space. Space.
You are gonna be funk queen of the planet. Like funk, pop, disco. Let's go. When is it coming out?
Well, first of all, it's a secret, but I'm working on a project.
That's not a secret because, of course, you're working on a project. You're a very prolific individual.
Yes, but I haven't really officially announced it. I mean, it's something I've been working on the DL, you know, and whenever it's the time to just boom, you know, announce it and put it out, it's gonna be crazy. Yeah, I'm so excited. That's also another thing Quincy inspired me to do. I'm like, man, I need to do my own project, my own album.
You're the dude.
The dude, yes.
Yeah. What would be the female the dude? It would be like, are you gonna call it the
and,
dudette?
The dudette, yeah. Good. See, maybe I'll connect with you after. You'll suggest some names. No, I actually have already
doing it on play on words on all Quincy solo album titles would be pretty awesome.
That would be a game. Can you imagine? I'd be so down. But yeah, so no, I'm so excited. A lot of really exciting features, as you might have already heard some stuff.
Wait, hold on. We should workshop this real quick. Okay, so you could do the dudette, right? The dudette. You could do what would be Back on the Block, but New York style. What would be like the equivalent of Back on the Block, but New York?
Maybe around the block.
Around the block,
or like maybe like Top of the Rock.
Where are you in New York? What area?
All right, we're not going to disclose all of my private information.
Okay.
Here's my address, my phone number, my social security, and like, you just guys gonna show up.
Well, just like, are you in Manhattan?
What's your street? What's your phone? No, I'm joking.
Where is this spaceship?
No, my phone number is 777-9311. When people ask me for my number and I'm out, I'm like, this is my number. Oh, okay, cool.
There's an amazing.
I need to try and call this number.
I had Jimmy Jam on the podcast, and he said an amazing story about 777. Like, that's so great of Prince, like telling him what to do. That's hilarious. Anyways,
well, that was actually the song that Prince saw and the cover of 777.
Really?
311. Yeah,
that's super cool.
Yeah. And cool.
Okay,
but
well, back in the borough. Back in the borough. See where I'm going with this New York play?
Yes.
Trying to.
Okay.
I'm not trying to expose your location. No, precise.
No. Oh, it's supposed to be public this thing. No, I'm joking. Yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah, we'll connect later and figure out some ideas. But I'm so excited for this. Yeah.
Female Quincy, let's go.
I can't carry that title. There's way too much, but thank you. But I'm also introducing a new element in this new project, which I'm really excited to share with people.
Oh, we can't talk yet? Or can we?
I mean, you know, it's like it evolves a new instrument.
Didgeridoo, maybe? Is it
the triangle. No.
Muted triangle.
Crazy. But no, it's gonna be super sick. This is for the next one. We'll go deeper into that. But really excited. So glad you love the music.
I loved it. I'm gonna be bugging Ross. Crazy. Or I'm just gonna bug you actually more and more. Like, come on, put it out. The world needs it.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes. But yeah, I think we're seeing tip of the iceberg of Alissia right now, everybody. Like shit's gonna pop
next year, guys.
Also, it's so crazy because it's like when it's like producer of the year and it's like here's these credits, right, or whatever of this year. I'm excited to just see where you go in the next few years. It's going to be a wild ride.
I mean, honestly, I feel like this is just the beginning too for me. Yeah. Even though it feels like I've worked with so many incredible people. I mean, I'm so blessed to have been in like rooms with legends, even like Nile Rodgers. Like, you know, I mean, they were like the reason why, I started making music in the first place, and just like, being in rooms with people like Bootsy and Nal and all these people, like it's just really, inspiring, and it's also like, I feel like it's just the beginning. I say that because, I have so many incredible things coming up, and I feel like I've been making like the best music I've ever made this year, and so it's gonna all come out next year. So I'm just really excited. I'm so excited, and this nomination is so inspiring. And
has it felt different now that you walk into the rooms and you're Grammy nominated producer?
All of a sudden, people start calling it. No, I'm joking.
Yeah, be like, I don't have to prove myself anymore, right? Come on, you already know now.
No, I'm not like that.
That's not at all your
demeanor. I'm just a nerd. I'm really just a nerd who ended up in this industry, but I just do it, for the love of music and just for the vibes, and
so two things I want to touch on of your futureness and everything you're doing now. So what is this Boogie Nights event? Looks sick. I haven't been.
Have you been?
No invite yet, Alissia. Come on,
no invite, because we haven't been in the same city probably. You got an official invitation to Boogie Nights Grammys edition, which is going to be in February.
It's February?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
For the Grammys. Yeah.
Okay, good. I'm glad it's not January, because I got an invitation for you for January.
Okay.
Grammy week.
Okay. January. Well, actually, it's January, but I hope it's end of January, because I'm thinking of the Grammys. But
do you know what day of the week it is?
Oh my God, it is 31st.
It's the what?
31st.
Great. I got the 29th.
Okay, perfect.
Yes!
Thank God.
That's the worst part of Grammy week.
Really dark.
The worst part of Grammy week.
Out. I know, all these parties overlapping. But that being said, yes, Boogie Nights.
So what is Boogie Nights?
So it's a party for artists, creatives to just kind of vibe and connect. I wanted to make it so that, it's a safe space where people can just go and just have fun in a curated, nice way. Like, we have like the photo booth and the popcorns and the branded cocktails, like the Freak Chic martini and the Bootsy Collins thing, and just making it cute, because I feel like you're a big part of like the musician scene, and there needs to be more of the things like surrounding. I feel like there's amazing like jam sessions. I feel like there's amazing things for live shows and musicianship and all that stuff, but I really felt like the party thing was like kind of missing, kind of how they were doing with Studio 54. And I just like with a lot of artists and connecting artists with each other, it's a similar thing than what you're doing for musicians, but it just like also includes like it mixes musicians with artists and DJs and like creatives and engineers and songwriters and like all these different people that I feel like organically it was happening when I was doing session, like at my spot or in studios and stuff. Like I would often like, I don't know, just have music, because I have a foot in the musician world, a foot in the producer world, and a foot in the DJ world because I DJ. And I was like, we need something that kind of like includes everyone, because I feel like the DJs hang with the DJs, the musicians hang with the musicians, the artists with the so I was like, let's just all get together and vibe. And also just like shouting out new music that just dropped. So last one, there was like, for example, Raven, an incredible artist. I did a song with her that she performed, or like the one before Lion Bay performed, the one before Anderson did a set and everything. So it really just highlights new cool music and helps promote that, but also just good time to party and get busy on the dance floor, like really dance. I feel like nowadays people don't, and I love making that type of music too. And I feel like it's one thing to like DJ and play and stuff while I DJ, but it's one thing to like curate and give a platform to people to really, connect, one, and
Oh,
two, just have fun and just dance for real.
Events are
Sometimes people
important.
don't
Community
dance.
coming together in real life is like the most important thing. And that's how you really move culture. And that's how you, it's a great way to show like, this is what I want to be doing. Like when you create an event, you create a world. So I'm excited to see yours, to your event.
Yeah, thank you. And I feel like, again, like congrats on everything you've been doing, because you made so much for us musician, like with the jam, like, this
thank you.
It's really like it's needed in the culture, and especially for my generation of like musicians and everything. Like it's one of the most well-known like live jams and musicians playing live. I know you did different things and shows and everything, but yeah. So I'm trying to do something that is also for like it gets more and more instruments as we go. Like it's funny, at first I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna DJ and like play bass and just kind of vibe with a percussion player, whatever. Now I'm like, horns want to sit in now. Guitar players sat in last time. Now and now it's starting to become a little more jam. It's a whole thing now. There's like more and more musicians. At first I was like, no, let's just keep it like a party vibe, like but it's actually really fun. I mean, that's also like, I feel like when I started DJing, I was missing like the live element of the musicianship. So I started like, playing bass and then like having synths and guitar and doing loop and live loops, and then kind of like merging it in with like acapellas and drum loops and things, and kind of creating on the spot, which was super fun. Then I started just experimenting different things. The live aspect is so much fun, and I feel like I'm such a studio body. Like I feel like I don't really do a lot of outings like that. And so for me, like DJing is like a way to like, okay, let's see how people react to this song or to this song, and let's see
well, maybe we should do a Boogie Nights Jam Jam in New York or something.
Hell yeah,
up. Let's light it up.
That would be crazy.
Also, I got a new project that I haven't announced yet, but we talk about everything on this pod. This pod is like, if you're listening, you're the insider. Let's go. But okay. I got a new project with TERRACE Martin and OMAS Keith that that I should throw your way. Get you on it too.
Send it over.
I think you would be into it.
And both of them are so incredible.
It's a fun vibe. We just have fun. Yeah. Well, okay. Well, I can't wait to see you in person again. I'm gonna see you Grammy week. Come out to LA.
Yes.
Let's go. Congratulations on the producer of the year nomination.
What?
And
insane.
Yo, I'm telling y'all, you guys are just this is just the beginning of Alissia. She's gonna keep going. She's gonna be, so I've had a bunch of producers on the show. We just had this last week, Walter Afanasieff, who won Producer of the Year in 2000 for all of his work with Mariah Carey and Celine Dion. He did All I Want for Christmas Is You, but he also did like,
wow, I saw it.
He did he did My Heart Will Go On. He also did like Hero and One Sweet Day and Dream Lover and a bunch of the other Mariah hits. But anyways,
it's crazy that they end up keeping the MIDI stuff.
Yes, isn't that wild?
I was like, what? And this is crazy.
That's him also on My Heart Will Go On and everything. That's all MIDI drums, him with his fingers.
So
on
good.
One Sweet Day, that's him with his fingers, MIDI drums. Like, of course, he programmed every other instrument too. But
I just had the honor of like meeting and working with Mariah Carey. It's insane.
Let's go.
Yeah, she's incredible.
She's the greatest.
All these songs are so timeless. Like,
man,
and, she's so talented. Oh my God, like.
But I asked Walter, because he had been nominated 4 times for Producer of the Year, and the first 3 times he didn't win, and then the 4th time he won it, and that's happened. That's happened to a lot of people, like David Foster. These other people like got nominated several times and then won. And I was like, "What was the difference between the times you didn't win and the times you won?" And he was like, "One thing was different." I was like, "What?" He was like, "I hired a publicist." The publicist makes the win happen. So it's all in your publicist. Let's go.
Oh my God. Okay. Well, I'm really grateful because, a lot of press has been just also organically reaching out, and people wanted to like, I don't know, like it's funny sometimes, like, oh, and surprise person like Alissia, and I'm like, yeah, I've been doing a lot of things already for a long time. So, but again, like just being nominated is already a win to me. Like it's just like so humbling. It's so like I'm so honored. It's insane. Like, you know, and of course the win would be great, but I mean, you know, already just being nominated is
huge,
incredible. It's huge, and it means so much, you know, also for like just all these producers we're all working like, you know, just tirelessly, endlessly, like day and night, and so much dedication and hard work. Same with musicians, you know. It's just really such an honor to like be kind of like, you know, just nominated. Just yeah.
Absolutely. Well, keep being you because you're doing everything right. Let's go, Alissia. I'm here to support. Let me know how I can help in any way. And thank you for
your consideration. For
your consideration, producer of the year, Alissia. Let's go. It's the first name on the ballot.
Oh, come on.
Let's go.
Elmo, you're the best.
Oh,
thank you so much for having me. This was so much fun.
Of course, it's a pleasure. Thank you for taking the time. I know you're super busy. So yes, and when you're in LA, call your boy and we're the rhythm section. Let's go. Come on now.
Yes. And I'll see you at Boogie Nights.
I'll see you at Boogie Nights. Let's go. Go with Elmo. 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 Go with Elmo.
This is the stuff, man.